This video is about Cities of the Plain by Cormac McCarthy, which is my personal favorite novel and one that I've struggled to find a good way to talk about at length on YouTube because it's the third book in a trilogy. And so to say much of anything about the book at all is to give away things that happen in All the Pretty Horses and The Crossing, which are the first two installments of the trilogy. So I don't think you should be watching this video if you haven't read both of those books, but this is going to be of use if you are planning to read Cities of the Plain soon, or if you have read it and just want to hear a little bit more about why I like it so much. That said, though, I'm definitely not going to be talking about the end of the novel. So everything that I talk about, as usual, will not give too much away about the plot of the story and the end. So just keep that in mind. This story takes place right along the Texas-Mexico border, much like The Crossing and All the Pretty Horses. But instead of the characters crossing over the border and going on these kind of longer epic adventures, it's a lot more grounded in the infrastructure that's been building in the area. This book takes place about 10 years, or maybe even less than that, after the Second World War concludes. I think it starts in like 1952. Yeah. So that would be what, like 6-7 years after World War II? And two of the main characters from the first two installments of the trilogy, which are completely separate stories, are now friends. And those two characters are John Grady Cole from All the Pretty Horses and Billy Parham from The Crossing. I read All the Pretty Horses at a really formative time in life. I was about 19 years old and it had a huge impact on me, but I did feel when I first finished it like the story was kind of unfinished. And so it wasn't until I read Cities of the Plain that I got the closure that I had been looking for from the way the first book in the trilogy, All the Pretty Horses, ended. I felt at the time like Cities of the Plain almost shouldn't exist. It felt like I was getting this high definition look into the kind of beyond of the story, like almost an epilogue that I shouldn't have access to. I don't think many people who love Cormac McCarthy's books cite Cities of the Plain as one of their favorites. It's a high drama. It is not as action-adventure oriented as a lot of his books can be. And there's really not as much thematic depth as there are in some of his other books. Definitely Cities of the Plain could be easily adapted as a play. There aren't even that many sets that you would really need to have. It's very dialogue heavy, which I personally love. And so the main thing that I have to say about this novel is this. If you loved All the Pretty Horses, you're definitely gonna like Cities of the Plain. If you loved The Crossing, you're definitely gonna like Cities of the Plain. I hope that you have as magical of an experience reading it as I did when I first went through the novel, but I'm not gonna try to oversell you on it. But there is one thing that I think Cities of the Plain does better than maybe any other Cormac McCarthy novel. It's certainly the thing that strikes me the most about this story, and that is it brilliantly displays through drama how inextricably linked beauty and loss are. The more beautiful a thing, the more of a sense of loss it wells up in you. And this is something that becomes very apparent to you the more Cormac McCarthy you read. His tragedies have such emotional weight to them because of how beautiful the prose and the subject matter tends to be too. It's almost like you can't have a truly great tragedy without a truly great display of beauty in one way or another. If you want to go for Cormac McCarthy's best and most impressive novel, go for Blood Meridian. But if you want to go deep in his catalog and you want to read one of the hidden gems, one of the stories that doesn't get talked about enough, this is the novel for you. And if you really like the Border Trilogy, if you've already read all three of the books, I would highly recommend reading Suttree if you haven't already. That novel really helped me feel like I got to know Cormac McCarthy, the person and the writer, better, more so than what I got out of reading any of his other stories. I hope this video was helpful. I know it's a little bit different than how I structure a lot of my other videos, but like I said at the beginning, this is a book that I've struggled to talk about in depth because I feel really precious about it, and I don't want to give too much away to people who, especially to people who haven't read the first 2 books in the trilogy. I'm William, I'm a writer. This is my YouTube channel. I'll be making book-related content indefinitely. And if you're still watching and you haven't subscribed, definitely consider doing so. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.